In today's video, I'm going to be covering everything that's new with iOS 26 so you can get a well-rounded image of what you can expect from this update. Now, I'm currently running the iOS 26 developer beta, and I do not recommend downloading this to your device at all. It's still a very early beta with a lot of bugs and glitches. I've already had some issues with apps not working properly, so I do not recommend installing this, but this is just to give you an idea of what you can expect in the official release that's coming later this year, probably around September. I have posted a few other videos on this update, which I will have linked in the description box and the eye up top if you want to go check those out. So I have a video covering customization on iOS 26, so that is your home screen, lock screen, all that, and also going over all the new features that you can expect for iPadOS 26. So again, those will be linked in the description if you're interested. But okay, let's cover iOS 26. Okay, so as you can see by the lock screen, we have iOS 26 here. And first off, what I'm going to be covering real quickly, like I said, I have a whole video going into depth about this, is just the changes that they made to the overall design and also home screen and lock screen customization. So they did introduce a whole new design, which they're calling liquid glass. So it just gives everything on your home screen this kind of 3D-ish look to it. You'll see some app icons have also been redesigned to also accommodate this new type of design. And overall, all your widgets and app icons will just have a bit of a different look to them. Even some of the custom app icons have been affected by this design to make them look a bit more 3D. I'll show you an example on the screen, but this is what the home screen looks like. So like I said, some of these are custom app icons, and these are all widgets from third-party apps. This next screen here has the Apple original apps. We have the reminders and calendar widget here as well, so you can see what those look like. And this is also just a widget app that I have a time widget for, which is an app called Color Widgets. But I really like this liquid glass look for the home screen. I think it looks really cool and it makes apps look really cool. And then of course we have the new customization options. So when you go to this customization menu, you will also see a few new options. So we now have the option to edit your wallpaper from this menu here, which is really nice. You don't have to go to your lock screen and then hold down and then customize and then go to customize home screen, which it was previously. You can just now do it directly from your home screen, which is really nice. So as you can see, you still have the same options here for pairing with your wallpaper or adding your own photo, color, gradient, adding a blur to it, all that, but you just do that directly from there. Another new option we have in this little menu is the option to edit your pages. Previously, you had to click these little dots to be able to access that. You still do, but I don't think a lot of people knew about this. It was very hidden when it was just down there. Not a lot of people knew to click there, but now it is an option right here from this menu. And then of course we just have what we've always had, which is adding widgets and also customize. So customize also now looks a bit different. So it's this menu down here, and you will see we have a few new options and it just looks a bit different. It also has, of course, that liquid glass transparent look to it. I did have some people asking me what the dark mode icons look like on the new liquid glass. So you can see, of course, this is what the light mode icons look like, and let's switch to dark mode. And these also look really cool. So if you're someone who likes the dark mode look, this is what they look like. And again, the liquid glass effect looks really cool on these app icons. Something that I'm noticing, which I didn't realize before, it even affected my own custom app icons, but only some of them. So these are all custom app icons, but as you can see, it did change the YouTube and the Notion logo to be dark mode, which is really interesting. I think just because they're one color with a white background, these are a bit more complicated. And these ones as well, these again are all custom app icons, but since they're one color, it seems like it now changed the background to be black, but again, these are all custom images. They're not Apple's app icons. So that's really interesting to see. If your app icons are just one color with like a white background, it seems like it can now change it to dark mode without you needing to do anything. So that is dark mode icons. And of course we have tinted icons, which was introduced with iOS 18. And this also looks a bit better, I think, with the whole liquid glass look to it. I never was a fan of this really. I never used it personally, but it does seem to look a bit different and maybe better with the liquid glass look. You can toggle the tinted icons between light and dark or automatic. So I'm going to go with light. You'll also see we have these two icons here. So the one works off of the color, I think, of your wallpaper because it has the image icon on it. So then it automatically selects it. So I think that's working off your wallpaper. And then we still have the eyedropper tool, so you can pick up a color from your wallpaper and use that. And then of course we just have your little slider here where you can choose the color and how dark that color is. And automatically when you go to tinted icons, it will dim your wallpaper, but you can toggle that by clicking on this little sun icon to make your wallpaper brighter again, or like default. And that way you can now change your app icons. So I'm gonna set it to maybe like a pinkish color. So then this is what it looks like. But again, this is all gonna play a big role with legibility, how easy it is to read. Toggling your background to be a bit darker helps with making it just a bit more legible. But this looks really cool. Again, I like this better, and I think I would be more inclined to use it the way that it is now than how it was previously. And then of course we have the new version of icons, which is the clear icons, which looks like this. Again, it does automatically dim your wallpaper. That does help with legibility because of course these are clear. This is what it looks like when I don't have my wallpaper dimmed. So that also works. It just really depends on what your wallpaper looks like. But yeah, this is what the clear icons look like. I think this will work for some people. It's not my favorite, but it is really nice and just a whole different look to your phone. I just want to show you also, we now have a new change with also setting large and small app icons. So it's just now this little icon here that you can toggle, and that will change it from large to small icons. And small icons basically just means that you'll have these labels beneath your widgets and app icons that just label the apps, and large app icons will just remove that. So that is what that looks like. And just to show you again, these are the default apps and app icons, and these are my custom app icons. They go more gray than transparent, so those don't work really as well for this setting as just the original app icons. So that's the home screen. Now for the lock screen, like I already mentioned in my previous video, we now have a new wallpaper for iOS 26, which is this one here. And for this, you can also apply the new time effect. So you can now stretch out the font of your time, and it also has that little depth effect where it nudges the time between the foreground and the background. You can do that for more than just this wallpaper. You can do it with any wallpaper that has a really distinct foreground and background. But yeah, you can now adjust the sizing of the font of the time. This also only works for your first font option when it comes to your lock screen. The other font options do not support this elongated type, only the first one. But you can adjust like the thickness of this stroke as well, and also you can adjust the color here, and this has that liquid glass look to it, so you can adjust that down here by either selecting glass or solid, and then that will not have that effect. This will just be solid text, but the glass looks really cool, especially of course with their wallpaper that they have. So like I said, this is available for multiple wallpapers, and also the depth effect where it does nudge the time between the foreground and the background. You can see a few collections that I have here of wallpapers that take advantage of that look, which I think is really fun. So yeah, that is the new time for the lock screen. You can also now add a 3D depth effect to some images that support it. Again, you'll need an image with like a really distinct subject or foreground for this. So for instance, if I go to this wallpaper here, you will see it will detect this bush and this little rock setting here at the bottom as the foreground, and the rest is the background. So when I move it around, it will give like a really cool 3D effect where the background is kind of moving and the foreground is kind of staying in place. It's really hard to show on camera, but this is a really cool look. And depending on the image that you're using, this will look more obvious or less. This is another example of a wallpaper that I just got that I think shows this really well. So you'll see this plant and this little table with a cat on it is the foreground, and the rest is the background that kind of moves around. It's really hard to see. You can really see it here with the plant leaf, how that's moving. So this is an image from my wedding day, and you'll see to toggle this depth effect on, you'll just have to click on this little icon here, and it's generating spatial scene, and then it has that 3D look to it where the foreground and the background are separate, and it just looks really cool. And here's another example with a photo of my dog. So he is the subject, and then the background is kind of moving behind him. So yeah, that's a really fun thing that you can do with your wallpapers as well. You will see the control center now also has that liquid glass look. This is something that I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about. Some people are fine with it and some people really hate it. I really don't know how I feel about the whole new look for the control center specifically. I do think it is a bit busy, I think that's the word. So you can still see like my app icons here in the background from the control center, so that's kind of really distracting. I think what would make this better is if you access control center, that it would kind of just like take away all that and just maybe have your wallpaper there instead of showing your apps in the background with the wallpaper and the control center over top of it. I think that would look maybe better, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've heard a lot of people complaining about this, and this is still very early on, so that is something to take note of. Apple can change still a lot of things in time for the official release in September if they see something isn't working. So yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the control center. Like I said, I know this is a lot of people having mixed opinions, but that's the control center. Now we also have a new look when it comes to taking screenshots. So if I take a screenshot here, you will see the whole interface looks a bit different now when you take a screenshot, and you have a few more options. So for instance, when we're accessing the markup tool, you will see down here, we still have that toolbar. The new brush that they announced on iPadOS 26 is also here available. I think it's called a reed pen, so it's a lot more like a calligraphy style pen. You can adjust the angles and the thickness, of course, and then you can use that to mark up your images. So that's new here. Also with markup, you will see when you click on this plus button, you have your options pop up, and a new option that they included is opacity. So you can set the opacity of your image, which I think is also really nice if you want your overlay of pen or whatever you're doing highlighting over top of the image to stand out more. Then lowering the opacity I think can also make that really helpful. But that is a new option that they added to the markup tool. And then also we have some new options here at the bottom. So you will see we have ask here, and that allows you to ask ChatGPT about the screenshot that you've taken. So you can go here to ask, and I'm just gonna ask, what is this image? I'm gonna send that, and it's saying this looks like a smartphone home screen display, the date, time, to-do list, calendar, events, and app icons. It shows tasks to complete, doctor's appointment, all that. So that's really nice. Whatever you're taking a screenshot of, you can ask ChatGPT about that. You can also do an image search. So I'm gonna tap on that. Let's highlight the Instagram logo. So it's gonna do an image search. So swipe up for image search. And here you can see all the Instagram logos appear, and it's just giving you results from Google for that. So this is really nice. I even used it the other day. There was an image of a celebrity that I didn't know. I just circled their face and then it could tell me who it is. So this is really helpful as well. But overall, I actually like the whole new redesigned look of screenshots, and this rounded corners as well. It just looks really cool. Also, something that I'm really happy that they updated is the Photos app. So a lot of people complained about the look of the Photos app on iOS 18, but it seems like they listened and they've updated. So now your library and your collections will be separate. So this is your library that shows all your images, can resize, zoom in and out, all that. And all your collections will be in this section here. And you can really play around with how this looks. You can collapse some of them to save space. So you can just close all those. And then you can open up just the ones that you want. And it's just a lot more customizable. So I'm really glad that they did update this. Also, like I mentioned with the wallpapers for the lock screen, we have that new 3D depth effect, and that also works for any image that you have on your phone. It's more fun than it is really like a feature that you can actually use. Obviously, you can use it in your wallpapers, but that's pretty much it. So again, we have this little icon here that indicates like a 3D image and that it can use it. So I'm gonna do that. Spatial scene, it's generating it. And now when I move this image around, it is now a spatial scene. I can't see it, but I think it's going to be hard to pick up on camera, so I'm going to try an image that makes this more clear. So here we have an image with a very clear subject and background, so I'm just going to generate the spatial image again, and here you can clearly see the background moving and then the subject is staying still. So those are all the changes that they brought to the Photos app, all really nice. And of course we also have the whole new liquid glass UI for the menu bars and all that. Next up, what also got a whole new redesign is the camera app. It's a lot more minimal. So I'm gonna go into the camera app here. The camera app icon also looks different, by the way. So it's this one here. Let me just show you what it looks like without the clear icons. this is what it looks like. So when you go in here, you will see it's a lot more minimal now. So at the bottom, you only have video and photo, and then you have, of course, your photos and switching the camera. But now to access all the other modes, you just go and swipe and then you will see them. But on default, it will just show the photos and video mode. But it looks really cool. Again, with the whole liquid glass look to it, it looks really nice to switch between the different modes. And I do believe most people probably just use photo and video. I barely use any of the other modes, to be quite honest, so this doesn't really bother me at all. I think it looks nice. Also, now to access like some settings, you just swipe up and then you'll see the settings pop up here at the bottom. Again, it has that whole new liquid glass look to it, and these are all just really clear what they are, and it's just easy to toggle between. Also, you'll have some other settings here at the top as well that you can toggle. So here you can see when you tap on it, some more options will appear for video as well. If you want to quickly switch the video recording quality, you can do so right from here, set the frame rates, all that. Really easy right from here. The iMessage app also has a whole new look and it has some more features. So for instance, this is now my main screen. So here I just have all my most used chats and it's all just known senders. Then you'll see here at this menu bar here, you can toggle between messages, unknown senders, and spam. So it just really helps with minimizing distracting messages and things you just don't want to see. So you can toggle between messages and unknown senders from here. Also, some new things is that you can now add backgrounds to your chats. So this will work for group chats or just chats between you and a person. So you can just click on the person's icon here. Then you'll see this option for backgrounds, and here you can choose a few different options. So they have some suggestions here for you. Some of these are images from my photo library. You'll also see some of the options that they have here. So you have color. So this is what it looks like, and you can switch between the different styles. This is also animated, so it looks really cool. And you can choose what the colors look like. So here you can see you can still toggle and change the colors to how you would want them to look and what color combinations you want for that. So this is what that looks like. So that's an option. You have here playgrounds, so you can access the image playgrounds app and make a background that way. Also, they have some other options like sky, water, aurora, and here you can just see what these look like, and they also have different styles for these. But yeah, it just shows you a little preview of what the background will look like, and I think this is a really nice little addition. So I think I'm gonna go for the color option. Let's just go with this one here and click on the correction mark. So now when I go to my chat again, here you can see this is what it now looks like. This is chat to myself, so you can just see what that looks like now. But I think this looks really nice. It also does give like a little notification that says you changed the background, so I'm imagining that's what the person who the chat is to will see. But yeah, that's really cool. Also, something that they announced, which I think is really cool, is the option to create polls, and you can do this in any group chat. So here you can see I'm going to click on the plus button. You'll see the option for polls. I'm going to click on that, and then you can just set up your choices. So let's go ahead and do like a dinner suggestion. So this is what the finished poll looks like. So I'm just going to send that, and then the people can vote, and they can even add a choice if there's someone who doesn't like one of the options and they want to add their own. But you can then easily also just vote for your option, and it will show who voted for what. So I think this looks really cool, and this will be really helpful. But we have had this in like WhatsApp, the backgrounds and polls and all that, but it is really nice to see that it is now coming to iMessage as well. Also, now when you're sending like a photo or a video, it will show the progression of how far it's sent. So I'm gonna just send a video, and you'll see here the progress of how far that is sent. In the name of the person who's gonna receive it, it just has this little graphic that just shows you the loading. So that is really nice and a nice graphic indicator, and it is very minimal as well. So that's everything that's new in messages for iOS 26. So those are some of the bigger new features. Now I'm just going to quickly cover some of the smaller features that they also announced. So now when creating Genmojis, you can combine different emojis and then also add descriptions to combine them together. So I'm going to go for some of my favorite emojis. I'm going to add the cloud emoji, and also let's do like one of the flowers. And you can also give like a description of what you want, but it's just gonna create an emoji that combines the two that you just included. So I'm gonna combine like the nauseous one with this tired emoji and see what happens. So then it just kind of made like a mixed bag of both of those Some of these results make more sense than others, but you get the gist. So you can combine emojis now. Also with image playgrounds, the app icon looks a bit different now. And also when you're creating an image, so I'm just going to use this image as an example. When you go to the styles, you can now use ChatGPT. So I'm just going to select share with ChatGPT, and you have some more options now. You even have a Genmoji option here as well, which is also really cool. But yeah, now you can use ChatGPT to also edit these images and make your images look really cool with different styles. So this is the result with the watercolor style from ChatGPT. Also, like they released with iPadOS 26, you now have the option to customize folders in the Files app. So this also works on iPhone as well. So you can just customize color with the different tags. So I can go for like purple. And you can also add like a little icon to your folders now as well. A lot of apps have also just been redesigned. So for instance, the phone app also now looks a lot different. It is a lot more minimal. Again, like with messages, we also now have more filtering options for missed calls and spam and all of that. You can also pin your favorites here at the top and have all your recent calls here at the bottom. All that is really nice, and it just looks way cleaner and better in my opinion. So the phone app looks different. The settings app also looks a bit different, especially some of these toggles have like a kind of new design to them. Also here in settings, the battery section looks a lot different. I think this is way better. So here you can clearly see a few more options, and it just makes a lot more sense. So here you can see your battery percentage and also just your usage. This is also a lot more clear. And also you can see here you have a new mode when you go here to power mode. You will see we have adaptive power. So when your battery usage is higher than usual, iPhone can make small performance adjustments to extend your battery life, including slightly lowering the display brightness or allowing some activities to take a little longer. So you can turn this on to help preserve battery life, but still low power mode will be turned on when it's at 20%. But that is a new thing that you can do to save battery life. Also, when you are charging your device, I'm just gonna plug mine in here. It will show like a little charging animation here, and it will change the charging. And also I did see someone say that when you go to your lock screen, I'm just gonna lock my phone. When I unlock it, it's just gonna show how long it's gonna take for the phone to get to 80%. So I'm just gonna do that. So you can see 50 minutes to 80%. So just shows that real quick, and then it goes back to showing the date. But here you can also see it tells you how long it's going to take to get to 80%. So my phone is set so that it only charges up to 80%. I'm just going to change that by going to charging here and setting it to 100 so you can see what that looks like. So set limit to 100%. Now in this section, you will see it's going to tell you it's going to take 42 minutes to get to 80% and 2 or more hours to get to 100%. So it just shows you really easily everything about your battery, which I think is really nice. And this whole screen just looks better. And obviously settings in general is just better. Some other things that are also new, which I haven't really had the chance to test out yet, is that you can now have live translations in calls and messages. So if you're speaking to someone in a call, it's gonna live translate that to the language that you downloaded. They only have a few languages available for this. Then someone can be talking to you in, say, Spanish, and then on your screen it will show a translation with like an AI generated voice as well, sharing what that person said in your language. Then also when it comes to phone calls, you now have the option for screening calls. So if you have this turned on, it will work for all unknown numbers. Then your phone won't immediately ring. The person on the other line will be immediately put through, and I believe like an assistant like Siri will answer and ask the person to explain their reason for their call. And then on your phone you will be able to see someone's calling you, what is the reason that they're calling you, and then you can decide whether you want to answer or not. And then also you will have hold assist. So if you are on hold for very long and you don't want to be on the call screen the entire time, you can enable the hold assist, and then it will notify you when maybe like the agent is back on the phone, so then you can pick your phone back up. The music app also has a few new features and just a whole new design. So here at the bottom you will see, again, we have this more liquid glass UI. Also you can now pin songs to the top. So say if I wanted to pin this song, I'm just gonna hold down, we're gonna select pin song. So now when I go to my library here at the top, that song will be pinned. So you can do this for songs. I believe you can also do this for albums. So I'm going to hold down and I'm going to select pin album. So then that will also now appear here at the top. You can even pin your favorite playlists. I'm going to say pin playlist, and that will also now appear here at the top. You can also create now folders and then have more than one playlist in a folder, which is also really nice. So yeah, music just got a whole new update. They also introduced auto mix, which helps to transition from one song to the next. So it will match the beat and tempo and all that to make the song transition really seamless. You'll also be able to have a lyric translation. So if you're listening to a song that's maybe in Spanish, it will show you the translation for that in English. And they also introduced lyric pronunciation, which allows you to see how to pronounce words, maybe if it is in a different language, so you can correctly sing along. Also, if you have music that has like really cool album art that's also animated, you can also view that on your lock screen. So when I go to my lock screen here, I'm going to click on this music icon, and then that will show up on your lock screen as well. So that is really cool. As you can see, even the animation and everything shows up on your lock screen. So that's just a cool new touch that they also added in. We also have some new apps available. So we have now a games app, so you can get all your games from one app. So it just shows you here in the home screen some apps that you already have, and you can also browse from here. You can view all the Apple Arcade games right from here. Play Together just allows you to play with friends and maybe compete with one another. And then we also have library, where you can see the whole library of apps that is available. So this is all just in one app, which is really nice. We also have the preview app, which if you've used Mac, you are familiar with this. So this just allows you to, when you're opening like a file in the Files app, it will now open it up in the preview app. And it's just a lot better for working with different documents like PDFs, to fill in PDFs, or just viewing images in general is just better. So you'll see here, we have a few different options: visual intelligence, adjust size, rotate, everything right from here. You can remove the background if it does support that, as you can see. Here you can also mark up your image or select your image, all that. And also when you want to export a PDF, you have a few more options when it comes to different formats and sizes. So overall, this is just a lot better for working with different types of documents that you might have saved in like the Files app, for instance. But those are the new apps that are now available for iOS 26. So those are all the new features that I wanted to cover for iOS 26. I hope this video gave you a good overall view of what you can expect from the update when it is released later this year, probably again around September time. If there are any specific videos you would like to see from me regarding this update and features, then definitely let me know in the comments down below, and I can definitely do that for you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!